Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to this panel discussion on India's new luxury aspirations. We are so happy to be here today with our expert panelists. Please. So I'll just start with a quick introduction of names and title and company. So I'm Mevin Murden, Director of Education of Istituto Marangoni, Mumbai. We'll start with you.
I'm Amit. I look after the collective at ABFRL.
I'm Shaunak. I'm the founder and creative director of House of Three, a sustainable luxury label.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Abhishek. I am the CEO for Apparel Group in India.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Amit. I am Director Buying and Merchandising with Tata Click Luxury.
Hi guys, my name is Arif Bham and I work at Reliance Brands and I take care of a bunch of luxury brands.
A very good afternoon. I'm Uzma Irfan, Director, Prestige Group.
Hi, good afternoon. This is Rajesh here. I work with Grand Seiko, head the luxury business for India and subcontinent.
Thank you so much, everybody. So we'll dive right in with the 4 A's of luxury. I think we've been a little bit surprised after the pandemic, of course, with a lot of changes. But there are some new factors that are really guiding the new luxury in India. And we are going to start with the first one, with these artisans and artistry. Are you seeing a change in terms of craftsmanship and appreciation for craft in luxury nowadays in India from the consumers? Anybody?
So, well, in our, the collective, of course, I think the kind of customers and their need is, changing, it's evolving. It used to be very logo-driven at one point of time, and now more and more people are getting into better fabrications, better craftsmanships, and things like that. We don't do too much of designers who are Indians, Indian designers otherwise. But there is indeed some need for that special made for yourself, made to measure personalization piece which is coming in and where people are looking at better craftsmanship.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Arif.
I completely agree. One of the things that I've personally noticed in the last couple of years is that there's this entire generation of consumers who are very, very clearly moving away from fast fashion and are picking out those 3 or 4 statement pieces every season, rather than going and buying a bunch of products which they're going to wear a couple of times and throw away. So while these pieces may or may not be, artisanal in nature, they're definitely pieces that actually hold a story behind them. And I think meaningful clothing is something that is definitely coming into the consciousness of the luxury consumer these days.
So buying less, but buying better, buying more stories than products. Yeah.
Yeah, and just to add, I'm sure all of you would have seen Kiara's wedding outfit, Manish Malhotra design, right? And the way they communicated that on their Insta is it was a personalized craft, meticulously handwork that took 4,000 man-hours, having 98,000 crystals. So it's not a price tag anymore. It's more personalized, exclusive, unique, original design. Same goes, I'm sure all of you would recall Paris Fashion Week recently, spring, summer, where Coperni with Fabricant had a live spray-on dress on and for Bella Hadid, which was again designed with craftsmanship meets science and innovation. And there are various examples, like I'm sure we would be knowing Sabyasachi's collaboration with Christian Louis Vuitton, where each shoes is very unique and original, comes directly from the Sabyasachi's atelier, fabric, and trims archive. And very recently, not quite recently, but LVMH had post-pandemic launched something called as Nona Source. It was the first online resale platform for dead stock material, which is collected from their houses. For the designers, where they can buy these leftover trims, materials, fabrics from likes of Dior, Louis Vuitton, Givenchy, at a fraction of the price. I mean, imagine a designer getting a hang of silk from Dior and making their own creation. So there are various examples. I just feel that now there is a larger appreciation for design which is unique, which is personalized, and handmade, and no two pieces are same to each other. So of course, there is a larger appreciation to what we see.
So I have a spin-off question of this. For example, if a customer nowadays would have to choose between a well-known global brand and a local new brand that has beautiful craftsmanship and beautiful story, are you saying that they would nowadays gear more towards the local brand with the story and the craft?
Let me take on this. It's a very interesting question. So I think today craftsmanship is first of all the essence of true luxury. You know, it's very important that the artisans or the craftsmen breed in the culture and concepts into their designs, into their products. So I think if a story is well told to the consumer with a global brand and a local brand, I think the consumers are intelligent enough to make the right decision today.
Yeah.
That's what we believe in.
See, I always ask students the question, if Gucci did Zari, for example, would you pay as much as if you went to your local store and the artisan or bought directly from this artisan? No?
You want to ask the audience?
Audience, answers? How many of you would buy a local brand with beautiful craftsmanship compared to a global brand?
Wow.
Okay, there you go.
Wow, my future looks bright then. Thank you.
I'm sure you have something to add, please.
Yeah, I do. So I just want to clarify, I'm sure most of us are from the industry and we all know this. There are two bifurcations in the luxury industry in India. One is the organized sector, which is mostly to do with licensing models of international, European or international labels. The other is the disorganized sector, cartoons like myself, Sabyasachi, Tarun Tehliani, who have been diligently over decades, like it's their devotion, devouring artisanal craftsmanship and trying to create and innovate things year after year, while there are certain practices of the mass market segment, which doesn't matter who your end consumer is, it affects consumer psyche. This discount model of online retail in the mass segment hugely impacts our operations too, because we would have somebody staying in an Epsilon or a Ubicity walk in, Kingfisher Tower walk in, not Ubicity, sorry. Wow, lovely. Lovely, I love this trousseau that you've designed for me. Please give me a 50% discount. It's a 2 lakh trousseau. Please give me a 50% discount because I'm coming to you for the first time. What's happening with these kinds of strategies in mass market brands where you don't really think through it, you just think of the immediate, and you start off something and then it becomes this massive animal which you don't know how to take care of. And then it impacts, has a dominoes effect on every other, market segment. If somebody comes and tells us 50% discount de do, because the earlier night probably she had shopped t-shirts for 200 rupees on an online platform. Now that person is not worried that, okay, 200 rupees mein t-shirt kharid raha hu. I'm sure 10 people haven't been paid in the pipeline. If my Starbucks coffee costs more than that 200 rupee t-shirt, that the consumer doesn't think about. What they take that as is that when they visit designers, they will ask for those same 50% discounts, where here my weaver takes 3 months to weave it, whether I give it to Kanchipur or I give it to Fulia in West Bengal where Jamdanis are made, or in Chanderi where our Chanderis are made. Then, or in Banaras. Then our artisans would take, depending on the heaviness of the embroidery, months to create it. Now that is not the same thing as 1 out of 5,000 units of t-shirts lying in your warehouse for the last 3 months, which you just need to get rid of. It takes time. And I would also like to bring upon what luxury is. What is luxury in this country? Or what is your idea of luxury? Are you seeking a transactional discount? Or are you seeking a piece of heritage which will become an heirloom that you'll pass on to your children? What does it mean to you? To me, as a designer, as an interior designer, as a apparel designer who ventures into men's wear, women's wear, fusion, ethnic, bespoke, tailored suits, the works, the whole dynamics. As someone coming from that background, it becomes very difficult to deal with clients when they walk in expecting a discount. So luxury for someone like me, or people like me, means time. How many man hours did it take? It's a hand loom, not an automated machine that it happens like that. You know, you have to manually thread the warps in certain kinds of looms. And you have to do it manually through 10,000s of these eyes. You know, you have to do all of that manually. It takes time. So that's the point that I would like to make, that there is a huge difference between licensing model, organized retail luxury, and where you're actually from scratch, from the soil to your final product that you're selling. That's the entire vertically integrated system where we create the product. And we do not have backings of venture capitalists. Nobody wants to invest in a legacy building model because everybody wants to play the valuation game. This is a traditional legacy building model where we have assets. We are not Uber, Ola. We are not Airbnb. It takes man hours. It takes humongous amount of stress and perfection, an eye for perfection, a finesse, which mass market brands can't even think of. It's unimaginable. The levels of operations that go in, the attention to detail at every stage of design. Like even today, Sabyasachi, when he signs off his collection, the first samples, he dyes those fabrics himself. That is the level of our passion. That's how we function. That's my 2 bits before.
Yeah, no, I think it's incredible. I was hearing your very passionate thing. It's amazing. For one, because obviously our company has invested in Sabyasachi, and we are hoping to create that next level of a luxury brand coming in from the country, and we really appreciate the effort that he's taken. But there was another very interesting aspect that you were talking about, which was of the discounting. Now, and you were differentiating obviously the more organized versus the upcoming ateliers. In the collective now, we have been there in this business for almost 14 years now. And quite a few of you have been our partners, through the journey. Uzma definitely has been, very early partner with us. The journey has not necessarily been the best right from the beginning or the easiest. But we stayed true to a couple of principles of the fact that the value that we are creating with that garment, with that experience, with that accessory, is of an order that cannot be discounted. And therefore today, if you, for example, walk into a collective, you cannot expect a discount outside of the end of the season sale time. It's a conversation which just doesn't go anywhere. Because if you don't have that appreciation for that product, for that service, and for that so much of effort that we take to make sure that it works for you, then possibly you're not the customer. Then you should be happy with a 200 rupees t-shirt. Please, somewhere else, I think you'll get better solution. But that level of passionate rejection, just so that the value is established, I think is a critical piece in where we are headed.
Do you think scalability with an artisan model becomes a challenge because you do not have that sort of supply chain available?
Yeah, it is a challenge. But it's not impossible. It is a challenge in the way that, there are at least 300 bill of material, elements that go into a garment, thousands of man-hours, versus even the most luxurious bespoke Corneliani suit. It's factory made at the end of the day. So there are processes and systems which have been set where the artisanal value is indispensable. However, in the craft segment, here, piece by piece, you can have little variations. So in our couture garments, a lot of us designers have this practice where even Sanchita Ajumpur had it. She had a swing tag which said that these are all handcrafted, handmade, hand-embroidered pieces. There will be minor variations piece to piece. So we talk about it. But yes, scalability, if you have to create a sustainable luxury label with a certain scale, which is a non-sari segment, it's massively risky. It takes a Herculean effort to put a certain structured system, which is efficient by itself. And then the returns aren't really too much, because we don't have the backings of the Mr. Birlas and the Ambanis. We have to do it ourselves.
Okay.
May I just say
yes,
something?
please, Uzma.
I'd like to just say there's a lot of passion on this panel, and I think all of you are very passionate about what you do. We are a country steeped in tradition, and we appreciate the artisans, and it is a lot of work, a lot of labor of love that goes into what you're doing. I think even what you said about having the right stuff at the store, it's not only about the product. What is luxury? Luxury is the entire experience. It's the experience of how the store is made. From the time you walk in, the way you are greeted, respected, given that amount of time, understanding till you find the right thing. That is luxury. It's not only the product. And of course, we have to appreciate the time that it has taken. Like these guys, I know, work so hard to ensure that what's happening in the entire world, that is in the stores. Getting that, and also imagine every summer, fall, winter, you have a different season, you have a different thing that's coming into the stores and which is accessible to everybody. I think, I mean, it's commendable, and that's all passion, and whether it is the organized sector, disorganized sector, and actually homegrown brands, we should support them. We are from this country, but I think all over, globally, luxury is doing a brilliant job.
Thanks,
and
Uzma.
kudos
I'm going
to
to
you.
meet you after we get off the stage.
You can meet me anytime.
So as you can imagine, this is a discussion that we have a lot in school with the academics and the students, and the best way to explain this differentiation is that luxury is divided into two sections. There's trend-driven luxury, which is fast, which is about fashion weeks. Then there's true luxury, which is slow, which is about people, which is seasonless. So there are two sides to luxury, actually, trend-driven or pure luxury, which is the craftsmanship that we're talking about. So moving on to the next section is authenticity. I wanted to ask you, the panelists, what does authenticity mean for your customers, and how do you navigate this need?
So if we go back to about 2010, when Diesel as a brand was about to launch in the country, you guys are familiar with the brand Diesel? Yeah. Diesel was one of the most counterfeited brands in the world, and already in India before Diesel officially launched, before Reliance brands launched Diesel. And staying true to Diesel's spirit, we said that, you know what, we take it as a compliment that we're being copied. Imitation is the highest form of flattery, right? And I think that encapsulated Diesel's spirit as a brand. But not every brand will have that type of thought process and approach. Fakes are obviously a challenge in our industry, but I think by and large, the consumer in India today is evolved to a point where, at least our customers, they're very clearly able to differentiate between the real deal and fakes. And I think I would like to believe that we're a bit behind those kind of challenges that we faced, maybe a decade ago when it came to fakes eating into our business. I think, I personally believe that customers are smart enough and will make the right choice. Like you mentioned, I think we don't give enough credit to our customers today.
I think authenticity is not a big challenge today for the luxury brands, because I think each of the brands stand for something which the consumer understands today. And I think they're making an informed decision. And it's also the wonderful retail infrastructure these brands have put up. Like Uzma just mentioned about, bringing the product from elsewhere in the world and creating that experience for your consumer. I think that talks a lot about authenticity, if you ask me, as far as the consumer is concerned.
Yeah, I think just going forward to what you were talking about in terms of the fakes being available in the market, I think some of the brands face very different kind of challenges. Now, in the Polo Ralph Lauren franchise, for us, for example, we do have a few competitor brands. I would say maybe they have a copy of what Polo Ralph Lauren stands for. And therefore, you will find that some of the products within our Polo Ralph Lauren segment, which will work very well around the world, would not do well in our country, but our customer can tell the difference, but is available at, I don't know, 1/4 the price or something outside in the market. Now, how we are trying to counter some of those is by increasing our presence in the market. By larger presence, when more and more customers get to see the brand, they are able to interact with it, and then they know that they are buying into the real piece and the real world of the brand. And in a lot of ways, for example, within the collective, we have over 80 different brands, and a lot of them really sought after. So our world, therefore, focuses around making some of those brands come alive to the customer, to really translate what that means today when they buy into that particular brand. So it's a very active sort of engagement that we take. And in fact, on the fakes, for example, the entire ABFRL machinery, we track it down where those fakes are getting made, and we make sure that they're sort of stopped. Because I think that's a big issue. If you let it go out of hand, it can become a real problem over a period of time for our brands.
For us, it's a whole different ballgame. I mean, another Birla Group or a Reliance can crack down and stop these things. We can't. It's a disorganized market. We don't have that kind of bandwidth. I remember 2010, 11, somewhere there, my partner Anu, that time she was the CEO of this bridge luxury chain called Evolve. And I think El Capital had come to India and they were looking at different brands to invest in. So Evolve was one, Sabya was another. And I remember Anu telling me, she was in those meetings, that Sabya at that point of time had that much of vision, was the only designer in this country who actually hired a marketing agency to find out what is the size of his copy market. It was 20 times. There is no way a House of Three, a Shaunak, a Sabya, Tarun can stop this. We don't have laws in place which are on IP. There are no industry regulations. There is nothing. It's a fish market. Anyone can do anything. So it becomes that much difficult for people like us, especially in House of Three. I don't know if you all know the brand, you all will know. We do custom couture, both Western as well as Indian. So that's trousseau as well as red carpets. We do prêt, ready to wear. And then we have a category called diffusion, which loosely you can call it bridge luxury, which is basically below 9,000 rupees. So when you cater to these many segments in the market, what gets copied maximum is your couture, your point of view, whatever it is, which is your idea. Now, for a brand like ours, House of Three, we have by design created a brand identity which is versatile. It's a bit like how Jean-Paul Gaultier used to be. It's unpredictable. You never know what he's going to show in the next fashion week. It has no semblance with what he showed the last time. Whereas if you look at, say, for example, Gaurav Gupta in India, or you look at Sabya, there is a certain signature which is typically them. Gaurav Gupta just does those drapes. That's all he does. So it's very easy to copy that. And it would have created a lot of problems for Gaurav had his clothes not been that fashion forward and that aspirational. Otherwise, it would have been copied left, right, center and sold at 5,000 rupees in Chandni Chowk. So that's a problem that we face, which is unique to us, which the branded segment don't have to, they don't get penalized for it. They have ways of stopping it from happening.
But I guess fakes are not just a problem in India. I mean, you go on any major street around the world, you will find fakes being sold there, and I think the industry is surviving despite that and growing despite that. And the value creation happens from the perspective of the customer, and it's not just, I'm going to speak about the trend sort of luxury wear brands, where it's very logo-led business, and it's the whole proposition that comes into the process of buying for a customer that creates value. So very different from what you guys do, from a very different type of luxury.
Amit?
Yeah. So spot on the point, maybe authenticity is one of the key aspects, authenticity and trust. And it also happens to be one of the key pillars for us at Tata Click Luxury. I would say it's not as much of a challenge in the mainstream channel as much I would say it is in the alternate channel, such as resale and rental, which is, again, a big trend and big, sort of, it's more matured and scaled in abroad versus in India. You have examples like Farfetch having a separate section, having 200 plus brands, 5,000 options. Likewise, you have ASOS having a Nike vintage, selling pre-owned Nike. Also have Net-a-Porter, who is partnered with Reflaunt, where a customer actually can resell and refresh their. It's not as much in India, possibly because of this region. There are handfuls of people in rental, such as Flyro, Spoil, and in the resale, I think, or Confidential Couture and Luxopolis and stuff. Actually, I would like to take this opportunity and take a live poll, because there was a research done in China. There were at least 80% of the consumer, they were interested in considering resale or rental or both. Huge chunk, and it was also across HNI and general population. In US, on the other hand, it was slightly lesser, 70%, but still a decent chunk to consider resale or rental. I just like to ask audience here, first routine question, how many of you own any luxury brand product in your wardrobe? It could be watch, small other goods. I'm sure there are many that we can. And how many of that you would have from resale or rental? None, practically none. And my next question then therefore is authenticity is the main challenge that you see why you would not explore or consider this. So I guess it's more on that front.
Absolutely. Thank you. I really like what Abhishek also said in terms of it's not always a problem. The research actually shows that it boosts the exclusivity factor of the actual consumer. They know where to buy the real stuff and they can afford the real stuff. So it actually has a good effect. So next section, thank you for this, is accountability. So accountability in terms of what we are calling now responsible fashion, being responsible towards the planet or people, and in terms of profit management as well. So in your companies, are there any measures? Are you being pushed by customers to be more transparent, for example, to engage more in corporate social responsibility and climate protection, etc. We are working nowadays with the United Nations SDG goals with our students to make sure they understand what they are and how to already, when they think of businesses, already think in terms of sustainable, responsible businesses.
I think,
Anybody? Yeah, Abhishek.
From a sustainability perspective, I don't think it's a choice. It's the change in the consumer expectation that's going to drive this up. The younger generation that's coming up is a lot more aware about these things than probably, you know, people that were born 10 years earlier than them. And if you are a consumer-centric business, you will have to migrate in the same way as the consumer is migrating.
Yep.
So sometimes you do things by choice, sometimes you are forced to do it. It will happen either way, in my view, in the coming years, that brands have to become a lot more sustainable because that's what the consumer is going to move.
Yeah. Well, are there any examples, specific examples from your company, for example, that should consumers are looking out for? Is it like packaging or?
I mean, in general, the rules in India are changing, so packaging is all becoming sustainable. The plastic is definitely going down in terms of use. Even from a product perspective, we are looking at vegan, we are looking at a lot of other sustainable materials to come into the footwear side of the business.
Yep.
So, but still the market is small. I don't think they are the USPs of that product that drive the sales. Still the awareness level is lower.
Yep.
But gradually it's increasing. It might be a journey, but it will get there.
Okay. Thank you.
Just to add, I think we're at a stage right now in retail where if you are using plastic and, you know, bad for the environment materials in your packaging and you take a not very sustainable approach to business, you'll definitely get a lot of minus points from the customer. But just because you use cardboard or something recyclable in your business, it's not going to earn you any brownie points today. It's considered hygiene, is what we found. So I think the expectation has risen. Having said that, we found across our brands at Reliance Brands that while there are more and more conscious customers, you know, that are coming into our purchase pool, all of these customers are highly considering whether the brands that they're purchasing are sustainable and conscious brands. But in no way yet is it a deal breaker. So what I mean by that is they're considering purchasing from brands that are sustainable and conscious, but it's not the final decision maker in their process. So I think it's a few years away, but we're moving in that direction.
I mean, I don't even know if that'll perhaps happen here. I mean, obviously in our experience of quite a few recycled brands, it didn't really fly. But we have taken a very different approach in our organization towards sustainability. See, apparel obviously is one of the worst polluters as an industry. Our management has actually taken a view that we want to do good by itself. And therefore, the focus on sustainability has been tremendous. And we have been at it now for almost 7 to 8 years. Today, for example, even within our business, you would not know that when the products move from our warehouse into the stores, there is a packaging that is used. Now, that packaging by itself is getting into a biodegradable packaging. Okay, now nobody knows about that, but we are doing it at the back end because we believe is the right thing to do. Across the board. It is more expensive, by the way. I mean, and obviously you can imagine at our volume, the kind of price that's going in, but it's going in. Within our...
Guys, I think that genuinely deserves some credit. I mean,
within our team, for example, we are a bunch of younger guys, so they said that, listen, we can't just sit down and crib about the environment. We got to do something about it. We believe in the Trillion Trees initiative, and maybe you could look it up yourself. So every year, we actually go and put out trees. By now, almost, we call them the collective forests. Okay, there are quite a few which are getting ready already, around lakes in Bangalore and in Delhi, etc. So there's a lot of work that is happening. But do we believe it is going to create the consumer pull for us? No, we don't believe about that. In fact, a lot of it, we don't even talk about it. Dr. Tyagi, who is our Chief Sustainability Officer, he's taken a few panel discussions here. I don't know if you've been a part of it. He's done some tremendous work. And that actually is a very good thing for us. But it's not a commercial driver for the organization. We just want to do it because we believe it is right.
You mentioned something very interesting. I don't mean to hijack it, but it's a very nice reflection on how consumers behave when they buy a European or American label and how they behave when they buy an Indian luxury label. What you said there that, these qualitative actions or activities do not really translate to a direct commercial benefit. There's no direct ROI. For us, it's the opposite. People buy into us as a belief system. If you're an Indophile, you're an Indophile. You could be 15 or 55 or 85. When people come to us, they come to us because they buy into a belief system. And once you've bought into the belief system, you're sold. You will keep coming back. You'll bring your daughter, you'll bring your family, because you like the service you get, you like the vision board, you like what you're trying to do, that despite all odds, you're swimming against the tide and you're trying to make a difference. People appreciate that, and they keep coming back. So that's one segment. The other part is in all probability, these kind of psyches who buy into a certain belief system are usually the old rich. The new rich has a very different behavioral pattern. They still are seeking a transaction. Like I gave the example earlier, 50% discount. They are still trying to seek a transaction. They have no buy-in to your brand. So as a brand owner, a luxury brand owner, then you have to make a choice. Whether you focus on that 20% who's going to be loyal to you, or whether you focus on that 80% who will keep coming and going. And one good news about our kind of business is that because there is so much personal attention to detail throughout the process, especially when it comes to selling. There is so much attention to detail there that it's very easy for someone to say, okay, I will keep going back to Shaunak and Anu because set ho gaya yaar wahan pe. If I need a shirt that I need to wear in a boardroom, I'll get it bespoke tailored from him. If I need a sherwani to attend a wedding in Mysore Palace, I'll get it. If it's a sunset brunch at a beach, I'll get it from Diffusion House of Three. So that's how they behave. So it does translate in our cases. These kinds of whatever values you're adding, who you are as a brand, as a personality. If you just pretend House of Three to be a human being, what are its tenets? Is he kind? Is it a he or a she? Is he kind? Is he a leader? Is he compassionate? Is he your peer? Is he above you? What's your relationship? So all of these things are very, very minutely thought through on the chalkboard. Every year we sit on it to evaluate and see, okay, this is what we started with. How has this personality grown and evolved? What are the new things we should add? Is there anything we need to subtract? So while our scales are very small, our attritions are very, very low, super low. Because once you believe in a belief system, you keep coming back, you're set.
Yes, absolutely. It's all about values, whether it's from a small and medium enterprise or bigger organizations, where real systemic change needs to happen from within, not for marketing purposes. Of course, it costs more, but it's for the good, and people keep coming back for the values of the luxury brand, whether it's a big brand or a smaller brand. Yes, Amit.
Yeah, so definitely would like to add accountability or sustainability at large is not a choice, it's a requirement, as you rightly said, and it's one of the topics for IFF this year. And let's see in two aspects, how is industry evolving, changing, and how is consumer reacting to it, right? So UN had set sustainability development goals, which has a timeline of 2030 across key impact categories such as transparency, waste, workers' rights, etc., so that companies are on track and they are working towards contributing to the planet climate crisis. It's often maybe a myth, and we are talking luxury, that luxury might not be sustainability, but I'll just like to bring certain insights. Business of Fashion has been doing this study on sustainability, what they call it a sustainability index since 2021. And they incorporate almost entire key players of the market across luxury, high street, and sportswear. Last year, overall scores were very less, 28, not to be very happy about. But luxury segment is still, we're driving it at a 31 average, followed by high street at 28 and sports at 27. There were many leading luxury companies like LVMH, Kering, Hermes, PVH. They've been leading this space and growing healthy year on year. And likewise, we have good examples from high street likes of Inditex, H&M, fast retailing, Levi's, and in footwear, sportswear side like Puma and VF, Nike, Reebok, Adidas, contributing to this. But there are a lot of companies, mostly in the high street and sportswear, where still a lot to be done, not just the talk or greenwashing, but the real commitment and action. And there has been many examples, like for example, Chloe last year became one of the first luxury company to get B Corp certification, which ensures there is a purpose in whatever they're doing. LVMH is contributing to deforestation towards deforestation of Amazon. Likewise, Chanel is contributing towards Sumatra rainforest, and there are examples. Like in the morning, we had a conversation with on sustainability where Aditya Birla Group, they are contributing in a big way. On the consumer side, there was a Highsnobiety and BCG had done a research just to understand what really matters to today's customer while shopping luxury. And they asked what are the top 5 attributes while purchasing luxury. No surprise, the top 5 were superior quality, timeless brand, as we spoke, curated assortment, unique product and style, and brand, value proposition. What was surprising was from last year, where sustainability was at 10th, stood up to 6th and 7th. So there is definitely a huge swing. Customer is also, and which is why it is triggering the company to work towards and reach that goal that it's set by 2030. In fact, again, I would like to take this opportunity to ask our illustrious audience here, is sustainability one of the top 5 attribute for you while purchasing premium luxury?
Show of hands.
It is. That's very good to see. And would you be expecting your favorite premium luxury brands to incorporate sustainability in some way or the other? Of course, that goes without saying. Now, the million-dollar question is, and which is what one of the panelists also asked in the previous question, would you be willing to pay a premium for that sustainability? So some bit, yes. So it has to go hand in hand.
Collect all of the names. They're lying.
Amit, thank you so much. Thank you to our panelists. We had one more A, which is accessibility, but I think you've heard a lot about this during this conference. So thank you so much to our panelists, and thank you again for listening.
Sorry, I just wanted to raise a point. Do we have 5 more minutes? No? No? 2, 1.
0.
All right, time starts now.
Thank you.
So here's a forum where these are one of those rare opportunities where these two worlds meet. People like ourselves who are sitting in our little design studios in our own little castles and doing our craftsman's work, we don't get to meet, top corporate honchos. So here's an opportunity for someone like me representing my sector of the disorganized luxury segment to raise some questions whereby both organized and disorganized sectors can come together and answer certain questions. Here are some of my answers. Why does it take Indian corporates 15 years of waiting to see Sabya becoming successful, and only when it's tried and tested they will put in that money? Whereas in America, it took Isabella Blow. She's the one who found Alexander McQueen in his graduating show. Within a month, and the entire infrastructure was set up. Finance came in place, where to manufacture from, et cetera, et cetera. Now, I have noticed, because I've been in Madura for 10 years, and I loved my time there. I learned a lot there. I missed those days. I met a lot of my old colleagues there. But what I find missing in Indian corporates, despite all this intellect that we have, our ability to take risks is next to nothing. In the luxury business, you cannot hide behind your Excel sheet on a laptop. You got to get your hands dirty and get on the ground. Luxury and your clients is a bit like marriage. You can't have marital bliss by doing analytics on an Excel sheet. You have to do better than that with your wife. So where is that gumption? Where is that support system? My second part is to say, since Uzma is here, and earlier you said also that we must promote homegrown brands. Now, homegrown brands such as ourselves do not have the bandwidth to pay the same per square foot rate as a diesel can.
You do, actually you do.
Sorry?
You do have the bandwidth.
No, we don't.
Yes, you do.
Oh, no, we don't.
So I think we will take this discussion to the speakers' lounge. Yes, let's go to the speakers' lounge. Thank you so much for this. Thank you.